me feeling kinda crazy. You got me feeling like my head is spinning round. The way you look is so amazing, amazing. I could stare into your eyes for hours and hours. Everything is kinda hazy. We're just dancing in the dark in the flashing lights. I know you can't hear what I'm saying, so I'm just gonna hold you closer. You take me higher when we're together. It feels like you set my whole world on fire. I know I want you, I know I need you here. You're Robin, I want tonight. You know you make me feel so alive. I wanna stay with you, never say goodbye. It's like we're in paradise, like we're in paradise. You're Robin, I want tonight. You know you make me feel so alive. I wanna stay with you, never say goodbye. It's like we're in paradise, like we're in paradise, yeah. I don't know how you do it to me, but you make me wanna fly. I'm not coming down. Maybe it's the way you move, babe, move, babe. You've got that body and that smile, make my head spin round. I'll hold you close to me. You're all I want, so stay right here with me. This feels like paradise. You take me higher when we're together. It feels like you set my whole world on fire. I know I want you, I know I need you here. You're Robin, I want tonight. You know you make me feel so alive. I wanna stay with you, never say goodbye. It's like we're in paradise, like we're in paradise. You're Robin, I want tonight. You know you make me feel so alive. I wanna stay with you, never say goodbye. It's like we're in paradise, like we're in paradise, yeah.
I had it turned off. Welcome everyone, back for the usual show. Let me know how the audio volume is too, because I've added a cloud lifter, which is meant to boost volume, but I just wanted to check how this is. So let me know if the audio and everything is fine. Now let me switch off that, because I don't need that there. And let me see now if these comments show up, because I may have to run them again. So let me try this. So bear with me a second while I get all organized. So where's the macros? Macros are here. And let me run H2R graphics and run, and then it should, I hope, work. Yeah, because I think it's working now, because you can see the comments there, I think. Yeah, so it's all going. All right, so let's see who's here. So we've got Shadow, I think it's S Mac, is it? He's just saying welcome. Oh, let me quit that too. We've also got Joel, I think it is. Let me move this over so I can read it from the top there. just saying, if this is real, this will be the first camera I've ever pre-ordered. Now, I suppose you're talking about the A7S, the A7IV. Well, we're going to talk about that as the first story today. I have talked about that for a number of times, and I do think this rumour is probably correct about the timeline. So we'll just have to see. What else have we got? George is saying here, greetings from a rain-soaked New Jersey, where the wait for the A7IV goes on and on and on. G'day, Raymond. Meanwhile, I'm happy with the A7S III. So am I. Love it. But I suppose we can't complain. It's due. I mean, if you look at it, the A7IV is due to be replaced. The A7III is due to be replaced. It's been a while now, so I suppose it's definitely going to be coming. That's for sure. Yep, raining in New Jersey too. Hello from Southwest Florida. Rocco is here. You better board the Ark. Why is it raining that much? Hello, David. Nice day in Los Angeles. Good day for a Miller Lite. Cheers. I'm having a Milo because it's a cool day. We're in winter now, basically, here in Melbourne. John is here from Texas. G'day, John. David, too, has popped in. What's he saying here? First time in a long time, I think he was saying. Well, it's nice to see you back, David. New intro or just a new edit? Either way, superb. Oh, thank you so much, Raymond, I should say. But no, it's not. It's been around for a while. It's just that I sort of showed all different bits of work together. Long Rider, okay, Osler, now you're just showing off. What does that mean? Ooh, having a Milo. Cheers, everyone. I love the little pictures that I can see coming along the bottom too. It's pretty cool. Barry Street is here as well. G'day, Barry. Leslie saying, woo, back in lockdown. Oh, no, do you believe it? We're in lockdown again for a week. We've got 20 cases all of a sudden. It's the Indian variant. So we're back in lockdown now for 7 days. I mean, I'm sure they'll get it after the 7 days. Look, because we're so COVID-free here, they don't want it to get out of hand. So if you looked at areas like Taiwan and other areas, they're in trouble again now. So they're trying to stop it here. We had a quarantine leak. I think it came from South Australia, actually. And basically it's spread and there's now 20 cases. They're all linked, so I'm sure it's going to be fine. But yes, we've all got 7 days of holiday. So hopefully it'll be over after that 7 days. Speaking of showing off, I fell in love with my new 50 1.2 immediately. No wonder. That is a gorgeous lens, so I'm not surprised. Now let me turn the headphones down here. Of course, I can just hear them a little bit. Just turn that down. Okay, let's see what else people are saying. Oh no, the 1.2 is amazing. Sam is saying, greetings all. Van is also saying hello. We'll start in a minute. I'd just like to say hello to people. Raymond, just ordered mine. Looking forward to giving it a workout soon. What do you think most about it? Hi, everyone. I think he was talking about the 50mm there. This song from Epic Sound. Yes, Epidemic Sound. Yeah, certainly is. No audio, no audio, no audio. Yeah, no, it sounds good. I know, I forgot to turn the microphone on. If I don't do that, you can hear me clicking around and doing things. But sometimes I forget to turn it back on. Oh, Delta Dave gave me a donation. I missed it. It's because I haven't got headphones on. He said, $5. Congrats on your new diagnosis. First stubby on me. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll show you the cut. It's pretty big. Check that out. So I think it had 10 stitches or so, or 11 stitches. So it's, you know, it was pretty full on, but yeah, it's all clear. So he got it all. The only thing is that I've got to do though, I have got a lot of sun damage on my head and I'm going to keep getting them. So what the specialist has said I need to do is go on Effidux. It's a cream that you rub on your head twice a day. And I have to do it for 2 weeks, but it's horrible. I've done it before. I did it probably 5-6 years ago. And basically what this cream does, they just found out that it does it. It targets the sun-damaged areas of your skin, and it's almost like chemotherapy. That's what my specialist said. And basically your head ends up scaling and doing everything. But anyway, it wipes all of the sun damage out but protects the good skin. It only actually affects, so anywhere where you see it become really red raw and crusty and whatever is the sun damage part to your skin. Now, it lasts 2 weeks, so I'm going to be wearing a hat for 2 weeks when I do it because it looks terrible and it's really quite painful, but it's better than going through this multiple times, and it's called Ephidux. So I'll be on that, but I've got to wait a month or so until this heals up properly before I can start it. But great diagnosis because I don't have to worry now because it's all clear. Back in lockdown, yeah, I know. Yeah, rub it in. I know it's crazy, isn't it? When you think of we've only got 24 cases compared to the world, but then again, we don't want it to get out of hand either, so it's certainly worthwhile. Thumbs up, everyone. Yeah, and thank you so much for the donation too, Dave. Canon R3, Wayne's saying, Dan said, your audio has always been great. Whatever you just added, you don't need. Oh, thanks, Dan. What makes the a7IV special? Well, I'm going to talk about that in the first story in a few minutes. Hello, David from Plantation, Florida. Did you finish testing? Yes, I did. Had an absolute ball testing that lens. It was so good. I mean, I don't usually shoot with those long lenses. I'll probably post some more images soon. I've only posted the one image. But I have got a stack that I want to post on Instagram and also Facebook, so I'll be sharing those in the coming days. But yeah, I loved it. It's such a good lens. Greetings from the Netherlands, owning the a7IV from 2018 on. I know, look, it's been so long, but boy, it's going to be worth it. Marcus also said from Baltimore, hello from Portsmouth, UK. G'day, David. 120 megabyte a7R4 in July. That wouldn't surprise me. I think they're probably going to up the megapixels. Could you eliminate the a7IV and no one would miss it? Because the a7S and a7R 4 and A1 have you covered. They have, but the thing is, I suppose this is going to be a different marketed camera like the a7 III is. So I think it probably definitely has its place. And the good thing is, look, if you don't need the camera, just don't purchase it. I mean, it's it's basically that simple, isn't it? I'm going to start in a second. Don't know how I've managed to stay up, but but I'm glad to be back. Greetings from the UK. Thanks, marvellous visuals. A7IV time, and people are just still saying hello. Now, if you do want to get my attention, make sure you put the @David Osler in the chat, because I'm going to basically look for mentions, and apart from that, if you don't do that, I'll be thinking that you're just talking to each other. So if you do want to definitely get my attention, put @David Osler in the chat, like what Japan Claude has done here. You can see that he's put @David Osler. Back in lockdown, he said there. And Japan said, you forgot and we are live. I love this. I'm always forgetting everything. All right, so let's get started, because I'm really looking forward to having a look at and talk about these things. So let me, first of all, I need to go full screen on this because... Oh, now let me clear, before we do that, let me clear those world symbols, because they're the people that are popping in. And then let me go full screen. Macros on here. Output 2, and I'm going to go to program. And then I should be able to switch. And I think it is it number 4? No, 5. Oh, God, I shouldn't have done that so quickly. I forgot to have a look what program it is. Where are we? Multi-view again. Let me switch to... Oh, it's actually 7. All right, let's go here. And let me put on this. All right, so now it should be right. Now let me switch over. I must do it that way, I think. And let me go program. All right, so let's have a look. So we're going to start talking today about all of the rumours sort of coming around with the a7IV. Let me just keep checking the chat, make sure everything is okay. I think it is. Oh, $5. Long Rider. How is this? This is how I to get his attention. I love it. Long Rider, put that on. I don't think I can show that there. I don't think it shows up. No, because I've got to switch cameras. I won't do it. But thank you so much, Long Rider, for giving that donation. Thank you so much. All right, so let's talk about this because it's really interesting. What's going to happen. I've sort of talked about this for a while, that I do think it's probably going to be around September, October. And the great thing about this too is that the longer we wait for this, like I've said before, I think that we're going to get a better and better release. Because then by that time, they've probably sold all of their, well, they haven't sold all of them, but they would have also sold a number of A1s. They would have sold all the new cameras that have come out up to that point. The A7S III, the FX3 would have had multiple sales done. So it probably doesn't matter if they then bring out an A7 IV. And I'm just having a look what they're saying in here. It's saying that the Sony a7 IV is not coming anytime soon. So far, it's expected to be announced in September. No info on specs yet. But I can sort of talk about that because I think, looking at it, I would say that this is definitely going to have 4K 60 10-bit 422. I don't think it will have 4K 120, but I do think it will have 4K 160. The other thing too is I think there's going to be a bump in megapixels on this camera. I think it's probably going to be up around about the 30-odd megapixel file size on these. So I do think there's going to be a bump up. Now, in a way, yeah, that's a good thing, I suppose, if you like to crop. But I'm sort of happy with the 24. But if it's there, it's there. But I do think you're going to get a spec in that as well. And this probably will be a new sensor now. I think it probably won't have the 5.7 million dot EVF, but it will probably have what the a7 IV has now, you know, so it's a much better EVF than what's in the current one. And I would say this definitely will have the new 2 million dot LCD at the back, which the new cameras now tend to be coming out with. So, you know, this is going to be quite a big upgrade. So I would expect that you're going to have, it'll be the same body shape as the A7, the A1. It'll be that type of body shape. It'll have a much better EVF than the current a7 III. It'll have the better screen on the back, which again is a massive improvement because, you know, it really does make a big difference if you're dealing with looking at that screen on the back. If you compare it to, say, what the Canons and that have, it is a drastic difference. And I showed a couple of weeks ago, I did show the difference when they had, I think it was the a7 III and the new one next to it. I think they're called the A versions or something, I can't remember, but they had them side by side and you could definitely see it's much, much brighter, basically double the resolution and brighter. So I think all the new cameras now will be coming out with that. So I think this is going to be a real major upgrade. I don't think it will, like I said, I don't think it'll go to 4K 60/120. I think they might keep that for the really high-end cameras. But I think everything else is going to be outstanding on this. It's probably going to have, this could, for instance, be totally electronic. They've shown that they can do that now with the Sony A1. And I think I would not be surprised at all if they get rid of the shutter on this. The longer that this takes to come out, they could potentially do that. Now, they've showed with the A1 that you don't need the electronic shutter, the mechanical shutter anymore to do flash. So it's a massive thing that they're doing that. And I think if this doesn't have it, the next version definitely will. But it's only a matter of time until Sony gets rid of that mechanical shutter completely. And like I said, if I, with the A9, never use the mechanical shutter apart from if I'm going to use flash. If I had the A1, I would never use mechanical shutter. So this could be the camera that does it. And like I said, the longer that this waits, there's more of a chance that that will happen. It certainly will have a much more usable electronic shutter than what the current a7 III has. There'll be less rolling shutter in this, for instance. The autofocus will be based on what the A1 has. Things like that. So this is really going to be a superb camera, and it probably will be one, you know, when I've got the funds, that I will upgrade my a7 III to. Like I said, at the moment, I still would buy an a7S III if I was sort of purchasing immediately now. I'd buy that straight away. But the a7III, I still use. That's sort of my workhorse for weddings and things like that. It's usually what Kerry will shoot with. So I definitely will be having a look at replacing that with this. It'll have the tracking involved with it, much better autofocus, probably much better low light, even though it's very, very good as what it is. But I think it's quite exciting. So I do think that you're going to see this in around September. It'll be announced in September, and then you're probably going to be able to get this in line for Christmas. Hang on, Kerry's calling me. I'll have to just say no. So I think that's going to be coming out very, very soon. So stay tuned. I mean, there's not really any rumors about that at this stage, but it is what it is. But I think September, I called around September, October, and I still think that's the same. But I do believe that this camera is going to be groundbreaking, and the longer that we're waiting for this, the better this is actually going to be. So, I think it's very, very exciting. It really is. Let me just check what some people are saying just over here, just so that I can have a look. Thank you so much for that donation, Long Rider, too. I really appreciate that. One thumb down. There's always someone, isn't there? I know, get a life. But they don't realise that it still gives you engagement, which is quite funny. Long Rider said, who let you out of your dungeon? I'm not sure what that meant. Sam's talking to Long Rider. David Osler, honestly, the a7IV came with minor changes. The a7IV will be an interesting... I'll be interested with 8K. Yeah, well, I don't need 8K. I mean, look, it's something that I just probably wouldn't even have the storage room to use 8K. So I don't think I'm going to be buying an 8K camera anytime soon. Really, all I needed was 4K 60, and I've got that now, and I'm just so happy that I've got it. So I'm really comfortable with having that, so I just don't need 8K. But look, if it was in the camera, it's in the camera, and if you don't want to need it, you don't have to use it. I don't think the a7IV will have 8K, but who knows? I mean, they blew everyone out of the water when they released the a7III, so, potentially there is a chance that we'll get amazing specs with this camera. David Osler, going to watch later, going to see the Powerhouse Museum in Tamworth. Great, New South Wales. Great show. No worries, mate. Good to see you watching later. Sam just said, what's up? Charbox said, it will definitely have crappy IBIS. Well, maybe not. I mean, look, it doesn't match like, micro four thirds and all that sort of stuff because the sensor is so much bigger. But the stabilization on the a7S III is pretty good. So if they're sort of matching that type of stabilization, I'll be happy. Ruck said storage. Well, I think this will definitely have the new A-series cards, your CF Express A. So it's definitely going to have that. Siri came up then for a minute. It's definitely going to have those new cards. I think they're all going to go CF Express A now. I can't see any camera now going back anymore. I mean, it's in Sony's interest to do that anyway because they make more money. You can still use, your normal SD cards, but I would definitely say this is going to have CFast Express A. Heath said the a7R4 has 5.7 million dot EVF. Yep, I think that's probably what this is going to have. It's not going to have the one that the A9 has. What's that? Is that the 7 million one? I can't remember. The a7III was released in April 2018. With more than 3 years passing, it has the potential to be a really big upgrade. I think this definitely will be a really big upgrade. Look, I've got no doubt that's probably what it will be. It's pretty exciting. Needs CF Express B. Yeah, we're not going to get that, though. You're going to have to stick with A, I think, now. Sony have definitely moved down that line, so I think it's going to probably stick with that. Charbox said 4K 60 cropping when using EIS on full frames makes no sense. Hopefully it won't crop though, Charbox. The A7S doesn't crop, so I don't know why they would crop on this as well. I'm sure it wouldn't crop. Reports of banding with the A1 when using high-speed sync. Yeah, I'd have to test that and have a look. I've not seen banding though in the... so you're saying with a flash, yeah. I can't comment on that because I haven't got an A1. But there's potential for banding in any flash type photography. So I'd have to look at that. I mean, hopefully one day I can get one. Greg keeps asking me, but I haven't been able to meet up with him. I'd love to try it out and just see what's going on there. But to be completely honest, I very rarely use high-speed sync anymore. I tend to just use NDs. So if you're going to be using NDs, that's a way of getting around it anyway, because you're not having to push the flash up so much into that high-speed, you know, the high-speed sync territory. The problem with high-speed sync is you lose an awful lot of flash power. I've found I get much better usage if I use an ND, and then I can use much less flash power and stay within the shutter sync speed of what the cameras or the flashes are running. So I probably would work that way. So if there is banding, I think you could probably get around it by using an ND. John said 20 cases and they are in lockdown. Yeah, I know. It's crazy Australia, isn't it? I think they just don't want to let it get out of hand though, John. That's the thing. So, you know, 7 days we're going to be in lockdown. Hopefully after that it'll all be back to zero again, and then we can just go on with things until everyone's vaccinated. Can't disable electronic first curtain shutter. Let me just get rid of that. Oh, really? So you can't disable it? I think there was 20 cases here just in the Knicks game on Wednesday. Laugh out loud. I love it. That's what Sam said. Hi, David. How much do you think the price in Australia will be? Probably, well, it's going to be more expensive than the a7IV. I would probably think, I'm guessing, around the $3,000 mark. That's probably what I'm guessing, somewhere around that. Others may be able to chime in, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be about that. I would sort of guess around about 2,300 to 2,500 USA. So I think it's probably going to be around just over a little over 3,000. Sam said, I have only used 8K once on my A1 since I got it. Fully understand, it's too big. The file sizes are just too big. No 8K, please. I'll take 6K. I think it probably will be 6K, but it will be downsampled 6K to 4K, which will give you a beautiful footage. I think that's probably what it's going to be. Marvelous said, David, I don't think the a7IV will be in the affordable range that the a7III was in. I think it will be nearer the 3,000 mark, 3,000 euro. I don't think so. I don't think they'll price it that high, but we have to wait and see. George said, David, I'm starting to worry that we don't see the a7IV until Canon surpasses Sony in full-frame mirrorless sales. Well, I'm going to talk about that in one of the stories today, so stay tuned for that because they're catching up quick, and that is one of the stories I want to talk to you about today. I think from next year, we used to throw all our SD cards, CF Express only. What do you think? So CF Express, yeah. Well, there was a story that I talked about a couple of weeks ago, I think, that there was a third card manufacturer that was going to be doing CF Express A's. So it wouldn't surprise me once they release things that the prices start to drop. Remember, the issue at the moment is it's only Sony have got those cards, so it is a bit of a problem. But if we have third-party manufacturers making these, and remember, I suppose the more cameras that offer the CF Express A's, the cheaper eventually it will come down. So I would think eventually it's going to be worthwhile. I love them. I think they're great. It keeps the camera nice and small. The cards are really robust. They're nice and small as well. And I can also use my SD cards in it as well. So I love the system, and I think it's great. What else? Charbox 8K can be done at 200 megabits with H.265. That's pretty much similar bitrate storage we're used to with 4K in H.264. Yeah, interesting. A7S III has a 1.1 times crop on 4K 60, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't in PAL. So I'm using PAL, so there's no crop. I think that's only in NTSC. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I haven't noticed a crop at all in PAL. So you can let me know if I'm wrong, but I think NTSC is a problem, and it's if you go to 30 frames per second, I think. 24 maybe still without a crop. We'll have to look at those specs, but I'm pretty sure PAL 25p is not cropped. 3,500, you're saying? Ooh, Brett. So you reckon there'll be that much? I think just over 3, Brett. Hi, Brett. How are you anyway? If the Panasonic can do proper IBIS on their full frames, why can't Sony? Don't know. I haven't used the Panasonic, so I can't say how good they are. I put the over under a... Put it over. I see you're saying it's going to be over or under 2,250 United States dollars. Sony IBIS is fine. Stop with the fanboy talking points. Yeah, it is. It's fine. I agree. I think it's fine. I handhold the Sony cameras all the time. And look, let's be honest here. Catalyst is the future. IBIS is definitely going to phase out. There's no doubt in the world that IBIS is going to phase out within a couple of years. If you look at what you can do with Catalyst Browse now, it's incredible, and you have to turn all IBIS off. Yes, there's an issue with turning up your frame rates, but I often do that anyway. But I think the future is in with digital stabilization, and I think that's the way it's going to go. So really, it doesn't matter. But look, I use my Sony a7S3 handheld all the time, and the IBIS is fine. It just takes a little bit of technique, but it's fine. Yes, you can't go walking with it, but for most of the stuff that you're shooting with it, it's fine. It's not as good as a GH5 or whatever, but it's still a lot better than what people give it credit for. All right, so let me go back to the next story here, because this is interesting. And this also comes down to talking about why I think that there may be a update fairly soon from Sony, because if you look at the graph here, these are Japanese sales that you're looking at here, but if you look here, Sony was sort of consistently above Canon, and then they had a massive jump that was up here, and then they're petering out again. I suppose this might have been the sales when new cameras were released, like the a7S III, the FX cameras and things. Although I think this is only full frame cameras, is it? Yeah, but anyway, if you look at how Canon is jumping up now at the end here, they're really jumping up. Fuji is having a major fall, and Olympus is just sort of continually dropping down. They're not showing where Nikon is. Perhaps it's not even in this. But if you're looking here, the way this is going, they're going to meet up, or Canon is going to surpass Sony very, very soon. Now, this could totally change if Sony released something like an a7IV. This is why I do definitely believe it's only a matter of time before Sony do that. Now, remember, sales skyrocketed when the a7 III came out. So if you're dealing with that aspect of it, it probably will be the same thing with the Sony a7 IV. Now, this is why I don't think the a7 IV is going to be priced ridiculously in the marketplace. I think they have to be realistic with where that's going to be priced. It has to be under what they're offering with, say, the a7R4, the a7S III, etc., because they're the more high-end one, and the A1. This could potentially be a mini A1, though, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if this did 20 frames per second and things like that. I really would not be surprised. Remember how when the a7 III was released, we all went, wow, we couldn't believe that the video footage was better than the a7S II. So I would not be surprised if this is an incredible camera. And then I think you'll probably start to see these Sony sales skyrocket again once the a7 IV is out. But it's just interesting to look at how these sales figures have gone. But you can see definitely Canon is shooting up in the marketplace. Let me keep going, and I'll come back to Q&A in a minute. They're also saying down here too, it says there that BNC ranking collects about 40% of the real camera sales data from Japanese retailers. It says the graph above shows the updated April, so this is the April info, of the mirrorless market share. Canon is once more a step closer to Sony. About time to get the new aps-c E-mount cameras and the a7 IV. Remember too, if Sony release a new a7 A6-900 or whatever they're going to call it, if that gets released, well, then again, that your numbers are going to go up as well there. So potentially we've got a new aps-c camera coming out, and we've also got the a7 IV going to be coming out this year, and they may also, release an a7R series of cameras as well. We don't know what that'll be called, but that's potential as well. And also an a9 III may be coming out. So, there's multiple cameras that we could be getting. Let's keep moving, because this is really excited me particularly. Now, Now, I suppose you're not going to be too interested if you are not from Apple, but it's terrific because they've just released, Capture One has just released the Apple M1 version of Capture One. And I've been using it for a day or so. I actually was on the beta, so I've been using the beta for a while, but you're not allowed to talk about that. But it's incredible. It really is a big step up from the previous version on my Apple Mini. And they've sort of said in here, if you read through this, that, let me come over here. They've sort of said, if you read through here, that basically it promises significant improvements in performance. Well, I can tell you they said here that it's mostly true, but they're saying they've tested it using files from the a7R4 and also phase 1 medium formats, the 150 phase 1 medium format raw files. And they're saying that on average, the results are 30 to 35% quicker. And I've sort of found that is definitely true. It's definitely 35% for me, even more it seems to be. And they give timelines of how much things have improved. And I'll just sort of show you quickly here what sort of happened. Before, the phase 1 was 412.5 seconds. Now it's down to 371. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot when you're waiting for things to happen. This is exporting all of these files. And Capture One has gone down from 304 to 282. They're also saying in here too that it's between 30 to 35% improvement. And if you're looking here at the benchmarks as well, they've all improved. I'll put these figures down below so you can have a look at what's happening. But basically what they're saying here is that you are getting around about 30 to 35% improvement. Now that is in its first release. This is going to get better and better. But I've noticed bringing images in, it is incredibly fast now, like really fast. Also, rendering the previews for me has been super fast compared to the previous one, although they talked about that being slower. I haven't noticed that. But let me go on to the next one because there was another A1 update as well. M1, I mean. Luminar also have added M1 support, so that's just come out as well. I do have Luminar, and I only use it occasionally for certain things. Kerry loves it. This is her main program that she uses. But I have it on my computer, but very rarely use it. I just open it up occasionally to have a play around with it. But now it does have M1 support. It was very slow and early on. I must open it up now and try it to see how much more it's improved. I can't talk about that that much because I really don't use it, but I have got it. But anyway, that is there now as well. Let me go on to this, because this is quite interesting. I'm not going to go through all of these with you together because it takes too long to go through this, but let me show you some of these things because this is really interesting. This report talks about how Sony cameras are maintaining their value. It also talks as well about how the sales have gone. So let's go through and I'll just sort of talk about what's happening here. They're looking at a whole range of cameras, which is the Sony a7 II, a7 III, a7R2, a7R3, the a7R4, the a7S2 and 3, and also the a9 II. They didn't include the newer A1 and the a7C lines into this research. But let's have a look down here. And it's quite interesting to sort of see how things sell or how things are sold and, which popular models are selling. And if you look at 215, you can see here that if you look down here, you can see that the blue is the A7 line, the orange is the A7R line, the grey is this A7S line, and the yellow is the A9 line. Now, it doesn't surprise me at all that the A9 is lower in all these cases as well. But interesting in 2020, though, that the A9 line... Oh, thank you, Kiri. You rang me before. Yeah, I couldn't answer. It's really interesting, too, because the A1 where are we here? The A7 series and the A9 are almost par and par here and here. So they're selling sort of similar numbers between both of these two cameras. The interesting thing too is it's quite interesting too to see how the A7R line series sells as much as they do. And I'm not surprised that in most cases that the A7 line is sort of in front, except for in 218. Where the A7R line was in front, and they're basically borderline in 217. But let's keep going down because I wanted to show you some other things. I wanted to come down here. Now, if you look at how, and I thought this one might interest you all, if you look at this graph, this sort of shows you how the price holds out through the whole range of the time your camera has from the original release to the time up to now, and you can see whether it's dropped or whatever. You can see that what has happened is the A9 has dropped substantially, and that I mean, I fell for that because I paid $7,000 for my A9, and the price of that now is around about $3,500. I think it really has dropped substantially, but it has been out a while. But it did drop in the first 12 months a lot, and you can sort of see that if you look at that graph, you know, through here, that it has dropped quite a lot when you're looking at it. But then it's sort of maintaining now where it was at. But if you look at the other cameras, the A7R, the A7 series and the A7S series, they have sort of maintained that price the whole way through. And in fact, the A7R line has really held its value quite well. Now, obviously, the A7 series is dropping now because that really is starting to be the point where it needs to be replaced. Yeah, you'll see that this will jump once we get the new a7IV because, like you said, it's 218 since that was released, and you can see the step here where it went up when that was released. So it did jump up in sales through that point as well. So it's interesting to see how it goes though, but it does show you that you know, that the prices of these things are staying very, very consistent, which is quite good if you've bought these cameras apart from the A9. The A9 series, you do have to go into it knowing that there's going to be a big drop in value, and you'll probably find that with the A1 as well. If you're worried about that, I wouldn't be buying the A9 series cameras. But apart from that, if you're willing to take that sacrifice in, and that's probably why in the end it'll be good for me, because if I waited 12 months and then bought the A1 or whatever, it may be a lot more reasonable in price, particularly in Australia. They're also saying too, I'll just read this bit as well, because it says, as a whole, most of the lines have retained consistent value on the news market, with the exception of the A9, which has dipped from its original sticker price. This makes sense as more features from the A9 and the A9 II, like the advanced AF system and video features, have found their way onto the A7 III, A7R III, and the A7R4, and the A7S III. The A9 has been cannibalized a bit by the cheaper line. And that's the thing that's happened here. Remember, when the A9 first came out, it was so much better than all the other cameras that were out there. But then those features did sort of filter down. I mean, it's even in the ZV-1. You know, I mean, all of these cameras have gained some of that focusing features and whatever from the A9 line. So the A9 at the beginning, there was nothing could touch it. There still isn't really if you're dealing with silent shutter and rolling shutter, but it's only a matter of time before, say, the A1 features start to come down onto the other cameras as well. So yes, you do pay a premium if you want to go to the A1, and that will drop. That will probably drop faster than all the other lines, because it's just the way it is when you're paying for something so expensive, and then those features come down to the lower levels in the camera market, and it sort of shows that when you're looking at these figures. So, you know, it's just interesting to look at that as well. Average days on the shelf by line. You can see here that in 2015, the A7R III, the R line was the most, waited the longest on the shelves. Clearly all the way through, if you're looking at it, although the A6000 series, A7 series was the best in 2015. Apart from that, it's the A7 series the whole way through that is the best on the shelf. The A9 obviously is staying the longest on the shelf because they're the most expensive. I don't know whether there was any others that were there. No. Anyway, I'll leave this article down below so you can have a look at it, because it's quite interesting when you read it. I'd love to know what you think. I am going to come back to Q&A once we've gone through the next story. Now, this is also interesting because there's a rumor that Sony may announce a new 28 to 75. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that's a possibility? I would hope that they would have released a new 2470 f2.8 before a 28 to 75, but they're saying in here that they're trying to compete with Sigma and Tamron. So this sort of, I was a bit surprised. What do you guys think about this? I don't know. I just think that I would have hoped that they would have replaced it with a new 2470, because that lens definitely needs replacing. All right, so let me try and switch back here. Where are we? Let me go home. And auto. Now I'm probably going to have to... yeah, I've got to play that macro again. There we go. All right, so let's see what people are saying about all of this. Where were we up to? Don't forget to put at David Osler if you do want me to read the questions. Issue with CF Express is capacity and price. Let me just quit this iPad app thing that I was showing, just so that I can move the questions over into the middle, so it looks like I'm looking at you guys. All right. Where were we up to? Oh, yeah, the issue is CF Express is capacity and price with these cards. It'll get better and better. Like I said, I love it because you can use your SD cards as well. So I think it's a great system. Would you think good for selling a 3 for a 50 1.2 or a Sony a4? I think you're saying difficult choice. So you're saying sell the camera for the lens? Well, I suppose if you have... enough camera bodies that you could do that, and it's what you want to do, yeah, fine. It just depends. As long as you have backup bodies and things like that. I don't know. I don't think I'd be selling camera bodies and stuff like that, but I mean, I'd be more selling a camera body to buy another camera body. That's what I would normally do. But if you're fine with doing that, that's fine. I have Panasonic G9. My IBIS is night and day better. Yeah, but remember the Panasonic file sensor size is tiny compared to the full frame sensor. So, you know, that's an issue there. St. Troll on, I love it. Brett said, good thanks, David. Yes, it won't be like the a7 III price. Oh, got a donation too, $10. Sorry, I missed that, moving Matt. I knew they are saying the a7 IV September, but Sony registered 2 cameras, one 2.4 gigahertz and one 5 gigahertz. If one is the aps-c vlogging camera, what is the other? Will the aps-c vlogging camera need the 5 gigahertz? Yeah, I'm not sure. Look, it could be, though, even though they've registered those cameras, it may be that one is the a7 IV, that, you know, they're just not going to announce. Well, what are we, 3 months away? It could be early September that this is announced. So that's still a possibility. You would think that the vlogging camera would be the 2.4 gigahertz one, and then the full frame one would be the 5 gigahertz. But you never know. I mean, two of those cameras, one might have been a new RX camera and one could be the 5 gigahertz new vlogging camera. So it's possible that those 2 cameras, one may not be a full frame camera. It could be aps-c and an RX. That's also possible. The Sony aps-c 4K uncropped camera with a selfie flippy would be good, but they need to get their mechanical IBIS tech sorted out. Surely on APS they can do better. Well, you'd think so because the sensor is smaller. But like I said, I haven't found a problem with the IBIS. It's fine for what I want to use it for. Panasonic more recognised as a video camera in Japan, not as a photography, from what I understand. A Japanese friend who owns Panasonic. Yeah, the Panasonic AF is bad. When I had the GH5, it was awful. Looks like Canon has put its cripple hammer in cold storage. I love it. Don't forget to put at David Oster if you want to get my attention, guys. Honestly, the a7IV came with minor changes. The a7III then will be interested with 8K of, I think I read that before. I did. Yep, George said that. Let me just check down here. I think I might have read that too before. I'm just reading the ones that were addressed to me. I think from next year we need to throw all our SD. Yeah, I did. I read that too before as well. David, that new lens of Sony, too late and for sure too expensive, so Sigma rules. Well, the Tamron, I love the Tamron 28-75. That Tamron 28-75 is one of my favourite lenses. I absolutely adore it. What's that, a new sensor? BSI stack sensor for the a7IV. They'll not give it the 36 full frame sensor is capable of. They'll reserve that for the a9 III. Not capable of full frame 4K 120, but can do 4K 60. Yeah, I don't think they'll put 4K 120 in the a7 IV. But you know, I think it's definitely going to be around the 30 megapixel size, though. I think they will now give that a speed bump over what they did previously. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Well, I said before, the price, what I think for the Sony is probably going to be around about 2,500 United States dollars. It's going to be just over 3,000 Australian. That's what I'm guessing it's probably going to be at. G'day, Mark. Have seen a user the other day with the new A7R LCD. Looks great. Yep. And look, it's about time that Sony did that, Mark, because there's a massive difference. Like I said, if you look at the Canons and the Sony A9 or whatever, the screen is terrible. It really is terrible. So it's about time that Sony did that. And that's why the A7 IV will definitely have that. I would upgrade to that just for that alone. I mean, I'm not going to upgrade the a7 III to that new model because there's going to be an a7 IV coming out. But it will have that new screen, I'm sure. I think, in fact, all the new cameras that are going to be coming out now will have that new screen. I'm talking about full frame. I'm not sure about APS-C. I hope the new APS-C one that comes out does, but we just don't know. But yeah, I agree, Mark. The screen, it makes a huge difference, particularly if you're looking outside in the sun as well. And for focus as well. Like focus, it makes a massive difference. And if you're using lenses like this, and I love this little lens, seriously, I did a review about this lens. It's the 7 Artisans one. I think I called it 7 Artisans. Is it Artisans or Artisans? I don't know. And then I thought, I wonder if I should have said 7 Artisans. Anyway, this is the 60mm macro f2.8, and I love it. This thing is built like a tank. I've done a review of it if you want to check it out, but you know, this is fantastic. And if you're using manual focus, to have that much better back screen is so beneficial, so useful. Charbox is saying, what, 1,500? I don't think it's going to be anything like that. Then there is the removal of the mechanical shutter. Could imagine the a9 III would come with that, with perhaps 32. Yeah, it's only a matter of time. I agree, Mark. I'm not sure whether the a7 IV will do it. They might reserve that for the a9 III. You could be correct. But I would not be surprised at all if the next cameras that come out after this, particularly next year, there's no mechanical shutter at all. And that's the way it's going to go. And I would love that because there's no wear and tear in the camera at all. You know, and I think it's definitely the way it's going to go. I mean, look at the problems that people have had with the a7 III. I haven't, thanks so much, but a lot of people have had the problem with that shutter where it sort of tears inside and then it has to be replaced, and it's quite expensive to replace. Well, we don't have to worry about that with these cameras that are going to be without the mechanical shutter. And now that the Sony A9, like I said, has proved that you can do it with flash, you know, it's looks like it's going to be the way forward in the future. Which lens do you use with the a7S III Sony? No, I use the 24 1.4 mostly for video. Yeah, I nearly use that for all the time. I adore that lens. It's probably with the 135 my favorite lens. I just love it. Absolutely love the 24 1.4. What are your LEDs? I just got a Stellar CLX 10K. You mean the LED lights that I use? Oh, I use a whole stack, actually. I'm using Soonwell, actually, because they've all been sent to me. I've got a few of them, and I can't remember. I'll have to see if I can find them, but I've got 3 different types in the other studio. This one is, I can't even remember. I've got so many of them. Oh, yeah, I've got so many. Artesian. Oh, okay, so it's Artesian, is it? Or was it Artisan? I don't know. Found a spec sheet for the Sony sensor here. So you found one. David, I think the price for the a7IV in Oz, 4,000. I don't think it'll be that much. I hope you're wrong. Seems you are enjoying your Ecamm Live. This isn't Ecamm Live. This is all from my ATM Mini. So I'm not using Ecamm Live at all to stream. There's nothing being used at all. I'm not using any software at all to drive this show, which is what I love. And my streaming rate is nearly 10 megabits per second. And I haven't had to go into the cache once. So, yeah, I'm not using Ecamm at all Ycast, so it's great. So this system now that I'm doing actually lets me stream without using any software at all. I love it. Do you offer consulting on growing YouTube? I've talked to Jared Polin and The Ordinary Filmmaker, but need Osler to fill out my YouTube Mentor Bingo card. Yeah, well, I do one-on-one tutorials, but that's usually in person down here. I mean, if you did want to do that, just send me an email and perhaps we can work something out. We'd have to do it over Zoom or something like that. But yeah, it'll happen. I want to try because I've been having trouble getting stuff onto Patreon. It's just getting time to do it all. And I've got a few members there, and I'd love to thank them so much for supporting me. I do have a number of members there, but I really would like to probably try and move over into membership on YouTube, because that seems to be the way that a lot of people are going. And I might end up doing something like that, because what could happen is with the lives, I would never change it. But so it would probably stay exactly like it is now. But if people wanted to watch later on, what I might end up doing is just extending the Q&A onto the membership side of things, and, you know, add extra features and support for people on the YouTube membership. I have got it there. I think it's on my channel now, and I have organised some sort of things in there where you can get special badges and things like that on there as well. It was only a few dollars a month, I think. So that's probably more the way that I'd like to go eventually. So I probably will end up contacting the people on Patreon and just say, look, love you, and I'm so happy, so thankful for the support that they've given me. It does mean so much to me. But like I said, it probably is going to be the future, moving more over onto YouTube membership, because it's easier then to ask me questions and interact with you all. So that's probably where I'm more going to be going down. You should be able to contact me though by email through through YouTube. Just send me an email and I'll get back to you, Matt. I was thinking the Sony a7IV dead, and Sony might do waiting another 5 years. No, I don't think so. G'day, mate. Where are you? When are you coming to Brisbane? Well, we're in lockdown at the moment, so I can't go anywhere. But yeah, we will get back up there, that's for sure. I got some real shots of the blood mood with the Sony GM70-200 and a 2-time extender. Did I keep those? Let me just look here. I'll keep those moonshots that I did. Let me just check on JPEG. I'm just trying to see if I did keep them. No, they're on another file. I won't go looking for them now because I won't probably find it. Oh, hang on, let me check in here. Just trying to see if I have some of those moon ones I can show you. Now, where are we? Videos to do. And no, they're not there. It's all right. I'll have to show you another time. But yeah, I did grab some pretty cool ones myself. Not of the moon, but I grabbed them with the other lens that I had. So let me just come back here. I know I was really upset because I had to send that lens back the day of the moon, the moon eclipse that we had. So some other guy probably grabbed it, but I was spewing. I had to send it back because I would have used it that night because we had a beautiful night here and we had such a good view of it. I was really upset that I had to send it back. Charbox said, yeah, do those YouTube memberships, David. You can respond to YouTube members faster. You can still have Patreon too at the same time. Well, I have got the membership now, so it's there. So if anyone did want to join it, guys, please join me because I'd love to get that started up. You get special icons, I think, like that, if so you're a supporter, and also you can contact me easily through there and stuff like that. So it's there already. I just haven't promoted it, but I really would love to really get that moving this year. Particularly, I've got a few weddings that I've got to catch up with in the next few days or couple of weeks, but then we go into winter, so things will really quieten down on the shooting front. So I'm really going to concentrate on YouTube this year, also on my other channel, talking about all the streaming and all this sort of stuff as well on that channel. So I want to push both of those and also with the memberships as well. So yeah. Please join me if you can. You are awesome. Thank you for chatting. Have a good night. Yeah, I'm just about to go for a coffee too. Can you sell Sony A9 battery grip? Well, you can. I mean, I've got it and I never use it actually. I am going to have a massive sale in the coming days, probably 2 to 3 weeks or so away. I'm going to grab everything that I've got that I'm not using and sell it. So I'm going to have so many gimbals and lights and everything up for sale in the coming days that I'm going to sell. I just have to work out where or how I'm going to sell it. So if you have any ideas about that, let me know in the chat down below. I don't really want to use eBay because I get taxed on it. That's the problem. So if I sell things on eBay, I get taxed, so I've got to use some other systems or think about ways. Perhaps I'll be using Facebook or something or whatever. Anyway, I'll have to look at that. By the way, too, I don't know whether anyone has had this issue. I did an update of Topaz Sharpen AI this morning. It came through with an update and it's crashing every time I open it. It's crashing on the standalone application and it's also crashing in Photoshop. So I have messaged Topaz, but you might want to be careful if you've seen that update because it certainly is not working for me at all. I'm waiting to get a email back from Topaz about that, so I'll keep you updated on that. You should host a live auction on YouTube. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? I want to keep 3 lenses only. That's G Master 24, 51.2 and 135. Oh, that's lovely. What a great combination, Pema. What's your Cash App? PayPal I use. Is that what you mean, 95? I think it's, I just use PayPal. It's just David. It should be in the description anyway. I think my PayPal channel. But I really do hope the memberships take off. I'm hoping that's the way that it goes. Half the gimbals in Australia are about to be on sale. I love it. Hi, I'm from Australia to Tassie. G'day, Tech Mechanic. Is it Maniac? How are you, buddy? Anyway, everything must go. The prices are insane. They will be really good prices. Timothy, works on the PC. Yeah, maybe just an M1 thing. Could be that. David, I want to buy the original Sony A9 battery grip. Yeah, like I've got it. I mean, I very rarely ever use it. I don't even know what they're worth. I'm not sure. And Tech Maniac said, hey. Well, that's about it, guys. I think it's about time for me to go and have a coffee. I might just finish off today and I'll give you a bit of Kiara actually to play while we finish. Let me go to here. I don't know why that doesn't work. I'll have to fix that later. And let me go to this. It's played it last week, but it'll give you something to look at while we say goodbye. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying tuned. Check out a couple of videos I've just posted the other days. Apart from that, I'll be back in a couple of days with some other things. See you guys. Thanks for watching.
You got me feeling like my head is spinning round. The way you look is so amazing, amazing. I could stare into your eyes for hours and hours. Everything is kinda hazy. We're just dancing in the dark in the flashing lights. I know you can't hear what I'm saying, so I'm just gonna hold you closer. You take me higher when we're together. It feels like you set my whole world on fire. I know I want you, I know I need you here. You're all that I want tonight. You know you make me feel so alive. I wanna stay with you, never say goodbye. It's like we're in paradise, like we're in paradise. You're all that I want tonight. You know you make me feel so alive. I wanna stay with you, never say goodbye. It's like we're in paradise, like we're in paradise, yeah. I don't know how you do it to me, but you make me wanna fly. I'm not coming down. Maybe it's the way you move, babe, move, babe. You've got that body and that smile, make my head spin round. I'll hold you close to me. You're all I want, so stay right here with me. This feels like paradise. You take me higher when we're together. It feels like you set my whole world on fire. I know I want you, I know I need you here. You're all